Large-scale deception does not require evil individuals. It requires systems, procedures, indoctrination, and authority structures capable of directing belief and behavior at scale. When these systems become widely accepted, behavior inside them stops being examined. At that point, alignment replaces discernment, and participation replaces responsibility. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a series of experiments on group behavior. Participants were shown a simple visual test involving lines of different lengths. The correct answer was obvious. However, the majority of the room had been instructed in advance to give the same incorrect answer. When the group unanimously agreed on the wrong answer, a significant number of the test subjects followed, despite clear visual evidence to the contrary. They were not confused. They were not forced. They conformed. Asch demonstrated that group agreement can override direct perception, even when the truth is visible, even when it is undisputed. In real life, the pressure does not come from strangers in a room. It comes from peers, coworkers, communities, social circles, institutions, environments where disagreement carries consequence and isolation carries cost. A decade later, psychologist Stanley Milgram examined obedience to authority. Participants were instructed to administer increasing electric shocks to another person as part of a supposed learning experiment. Most complied, not because they were cruel, but because they trusted the structure directing them. Even while expressing discomfort, even while sensing something was wrong, the determining factor was not malice, it was authorization. Authority framed the action as necessary, approved, and correct. Milgram's findings showed that personal responsibility is easily surrendered once authority defines obedience as duty and reassures participants they are not the ones deciding. In real systems, authority does not present itself as brutality, it appears as expertise, policy, procedure. Responsibility is distributed upward, away from the individual. Taken together, these experiments reveal a consistent mechanism. When belief and behavior are shaped by authority and reinforced by pure alignment, truth becomes negotiable and conscience becomes conditional. Betrayal does not require hatred. It does not require intent. It only requires alignment with the voices people are trained to trust. This pattern is not confined to laboratories. Scripture describes the same mechanism long before modern psychology gave it language. In the Gospel of Matthew, it records, "Brother will deliver brother to death, and a father his child." This is not chaos. It is order under conviction, people acting in accordance with what they believe is right. In the Gospel of Luke, it states, "You will be delivered up by parents and brothers and relatives and friends, not through malice, but through alignment. Alignment with what is accepted, with what is justified, and with what trusted voices declare must be done." The book of Revelation describes a system where participation determines access, and refusal results in exclusion. Economic life is restricted to those who comply. Refusal is not treated as neutral disagreement, but as a threat requiring enforcement. The text does not require universal belief. It explicitly acknowledges a non-compliant remnant. What enables enforcement is not total agreement, but aligned authority, power unified around a single directive. The system functions because enough power agrees to act, not because everyone is convinced. This is how societies cross lines without noticing, not through sudden corruption, but through coordinated alignment. A single message repeated across every trusted channel, media reinforcing it as necessary, religious leaders framing it as moral, government presenting it as unavoidable, each voice reinforcing the same conclusion, until dissent no longer sounds faithful, only dangerous. At that stage, conformity is no longer demanded, it is expected, and betrayal no longer feels like betrayal. It feels like responsibility, like maturity, like doing what must be done for the greater good. History shows this same structure repeating. A moral framing is introduced, authority affirms it, dissent is reclassified as danger, compliance becomes virtue. The system never requires everyone to believe the deception. It only requires enough people to align with it, because it comes from sources they respect, trust, and fear standing apart from. The critical question has never been whether people are capable of betraying one another. History has settled that. The real question is how easily people abandon truth when obedience is framed as virtue and alignment is mistaken for righteousness. Because once the majority decides what is right, truth no longer needs to be defeated. It only needs to be abandoned. The majority has never been the measure of truth. It has always been the mechanism by which truth is overridden.